Hey, welcome back to the channel, Raid Ninja here. Boys, in this video I'm gonna show you how to beat another hard mode boss with basically no strategy whatsoever, full auto, and potentially no items at all on your champions. Yep, that's how simple this will be. And this is only taking 2 to 3 minutes, depending on where you are in the current season. Look at that, easy peasy. Draugnail hard, downed. But real quick boys, if you download the game with the link in my bio, you'll get yourself 3 free legendaries and 3 S tier epics, including Madame series. That's gonna be 4 S tier epics. So go ahead and check that bio for more details. So we have 5 days and 16 hours left for season 2 of Grim Forest to end. And I know some of you guys are still struggling with some of the bosses in here. Today we're talking about Draugnail. And yeah, as I mentioned, Draugnail hard. This I would say guide or tips and tricks that I'm going to give you now, just in case you don't know about them already, can be applied to every single boss in the entire Grim Forest, every single hard boss. This how general and easy it is for the Grim Forest. So what am I rambling about? And what do I mean by you can beat these hard bosses with no items on your champions, like basically naked, and also no strategy at all? Like, what the heck? Some of these bosses, they literally one-shot you, right? So how can you beat them with no items and no strategy? Well, the solution for that is actually the Grim Forest game mode itself. Look at the squad level. Progress is level 30 for us, right? And the more you progress through the level, or the more you level, you will get to upgrade your trade systems or your trade cards, and you will also get to equip up to 6 curios. We have 6 curios, right? And we also have a bunch of trade cards stats. Look at that. Look at the stats. Plus 640 resistance, 150 attack, 150% defense, crit rate, crit damage, accuracy, speed, HP, whatnot. One of the most important stats in the entire game mode, it's resistance. Every time I see resistance, I take it. And then I take attack and defense depending on what champions I have put in the deck. If I have defense-based attack champions, I'll take defense. If I have attack, I'll take attack. And this season, there's a mix of it, so I have attack and defense. But then I took a bunch of resistance. Let me drop my camera back, and that's the curios as well. The curios don't matter that much, but there are a few curios at the end of the season, if you level them up, that they are going to be very, very strong. Like, for example, this one here. Deals damage equal to 5% of enemies' max HP every 6th turn. You have another one, good against bosses. Decrease the damage allied champions receive by poison and HP burn debuff by 10, 20, 50%. 50%, man, 50%, super strong against the poison boss. And then you have some other really interesting curios here. One of the other ones I like a lot is Dragon Astrolabe. This one is super cool. Actually, you can't really read it unless I move my camera. This one is also super cool. At the start of each ally's turn, has a 10, 15 or 20% chance to decrease a random skill cooldown by 1 turn. So you can spam your skills faster. And this is at the start of each ally's turn, not at the start of one ally's turn. So you don't put this on only on one ally. But again, some of my other favorite ones are this one that gives Grim coins. Extra Grim coins whenever you finish fights. And then another one I like a lot is the Phoenix kill. This gives Grim Forest experience. So this helped me level up 15, well, not really 15% because it's only 2 stars this season, but 10% more than as usual. Very, very interesting curio. You could potentially, if you drop it in the very first days of Grim Forest, just equip it and go through it. And then as long as you bring enough resistance to the table against these bosses, you can basically cruise on auto, no issues whatsoever. My team is not really built up against this boss in particular, so there is no strategy involved here. Basically, I put the best team, the best champions that I considered I had on this rotation, because you know, you get a few of them randomized, right? And I put them in. Look at that. Acresia is getting 1 shot whenever she attacks. So some of these champions don't even have the right gear. All you need against these bosses is a bunch of resistance to resist their crazy skills and passives, right? Because this boss is basically putting a bunch of, look at this, a bunch of freeze. They just gonna permanently freeze you, right? And then the other boss, the poison boss, is gonna put a bunch of poisons on your team, and they're gonna permanently poison your team, so you're gonna die so much faster. But because we have all this resistance extra from the trait cards, this boss is basically not doing anything against us, so we're just cruising through the fight. This fight is a bit longer by the looks of it because we didn't really put that many brimstones. So for example, if you bring a champion that has a 5-star brimstone, just give him a bunch of accuracy. If you don't have enough damage against the boss, put some brimstone. Look at that. We have smite, yeah? Let me make my camera a bit smaller. Look at that. Up there we have smite. The smite is gonna deal whenever the boss acts. Look at that.
Bunch of damage.
That was a lot. That was maybe 5 to 10%. I don't even know. But 10% probably not. But he was 5%. If smite procs a couple of times, that's gonna deal a bunch of damage to the boss itself. You don't really need to bring damage dealers. All you have to do is basically survive till the end. But if you have a healer against this boss, or a reviver, or maybe 2 revivers, that's gonna be enough for you. You don't really need any strategy whatsoever against Dragnel hard. And this is how I beat from the very first season when I made this previous guide against Grim Forest for you guys. This is how I beat all the other bosses, including Lishun. Actually, with Lishun, I actually had a little bit of fun and I went no gear whatsoever. You can go ahead and watch the other video too. Look at the brimstone there. A bunch of damage. We're losing champions left and right, but that doesn't really matter. We're gonna revive here. If you don't have revivers in this rotation, or if you didn't pull any revivers, just bring somebody who can place maybe unkillable or block damage. And that's another way you're not gonna die. But if somehow you're still not gonna be able to manage to do it as easy as I told you, this is also, I wrote down a little bit of information here that it's gonna help you build a better team against Dragnel and basically against any other bosses in Grim Forest. And Grim Forest hard, boys, not just normal. And obviously doing hard, it's gonna help you build that 6-star Mercurial set faster, the 9-piece set faster for some of your champions. Because this Mercurial set, man, one of the best sets they've added to the game in the past, I don't know, maybe years, I would say. That's how strong this is. Especially if you go for the 9-piece set, you can put it on a bunch of supports. You can put it on even on attack, even on damage dealers. This is how strong Mercurial set is. So back to our list here, just in case you're still wondering what else can you do to improve this boss fight. Bring in at least 2 revivers with high resistance, a cleanser with high resistance if you don't have enough resistance to resist those freeze, unkillable champs. If you can't really survive but you have high resistance, bring somebody with unkillable, right? Max HP damage dealers. Obviously this is a no-brainer. Cooldown recent champs, block debuffs, buffs, right? HP burn. HP burn stops damage reflection on this boss. Protected buffs. Protected buffs is also really good. Buff extenders, decrease accuracy, increase resistance. Man, these are actually no-brainers. But just in case you might have missed it somehow, or you feel like you're getting overwhelmed by this boss, because a lot of you guys literally texted me, bro, I'm struggling with some of these bosses in hard. So there you go. This is how I beat the bosses with no items and no strategy whatsoever. And then masteries and blessings. Lastly, the only mastery that matters against bosses is War Master. For blessings, the only blessing that matter against bosses is Brimstone. Brimstone is super strong. I already show you how much damage it can do itself. And as for some extras here, damage mitigation maybe for more survivability and shields. And then lastly, there's 2, maybe if I zoom in a little bit, I mean, whatever. I already finished reading, right? And then lastly, Mummified Ward that reflects reflects debuffs, super strong Curio, and Sapphire Elixir decreases enemy accuracy. Again, a very strong relic, Curio. And obviously you're gonna get these for free just by playing the game or by going to the vendor and see what does the vendor has to sell to you. And yeah, easy peasy. How to beat every single hard mode boss in the Grim Forest. You know what? Just before I end up the video, let's jump into Maximos. I don't even know if I have the correct items or any items on most of these champions. I feel like I do because I did some arenas and these are some of my arena champions. Let's have a look. This is gonna be a 2-minute run, hopefully, potentially. It looks pretty slow. It looks like one of these 5 to 10 minutes runs. So if this is one of these fights, I'm not gonna hold you for so long. But look at this. This boss fight, this boss applies Poison sensitivity, poisons. The second hit places 3 poisons. Whenever you act, these poisons are gonna pop. Attacks all enemies, increases the cooldowns of all enemy skills by 1 turn and places more poisons. Look at this, the number of poison debuffs placed on each enemy is equal to the number of skills currently on cooldown. Again. And then when he attacks, instantly activates 1 poison. So this boss was dreadful in Season 1 whenever Grim Forest came along. And I know a lot of you guys that were actually looking for a guide for this, so I made the very first boss guide. I think I made for Grim Forest, where first it was for this boss. And what do you know? It was exactly the same guide I'm talking about right now, but some of you missed it and you're still struggling with it. Not too bad. 1 minute in, we're dealing a bunch of damage with Smite. There's nothing else to say, boys. Bring in War Master, bring in Smite. High resistance. You can actually leave these bosses for later on in the season, so you can potentially have a higher level and just use the trade cards, stats as an extra bonuses on your total stats, and just cruise stroll the bosses at the end of the season. Just, you know, defeat the 3 bosses, there are 4 bosses, right? Defeat the 4 bosses to remove them from Lishun fight, and then go for Lishun, and there you go. Free items. Free Mercurial 6-star items, and potentially one of the good ones. So yeah, 2 minutes in. We have 1 smite left to proc, but his skills are on cooldown, so it's not gonna proc. Probably we're gonna end the fight with pummeling him down. Pretty much. Maybe we're gonna apply 1? No, I guess not. Yeah, that's it. Look at that. Tuk tuk. And easy peasy. 2 minutes and 10. Best 1 minute 45. I think previous fight was a bit faster. You don't need to play manually, you just put it on auto, you go for a tea, you go for a breakfast whenever you're playing, and that's it. So yes boys, that's pretty much it for the video. That's the guide for you. I'm not gonna make it any more longer than this. I was Raid Ninja. If you want to see more of my content, go ahead and watch the next video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Go ahead and download Raid with the link below if you want to get yourself 2 free legendaries and 3 S tier epics. This is one of the best starter pack in the entire world right now.